What is up, guys? It's Jacob from Quad Hunting, and this is the Lions Jaguars Week 11 recap.
Welcome to Detroit.
So coming off their bye week, the Lions were facing the, at the time, 2-7 Jaguars. They won, extending the record to 6-4 on a 26-19 win against the Jaguars. This was a game they should have won. It was a game they did end up winning. Typical Lions fashion, though. Waited till the fourth quarter to do it, and then a couple penalties later, some good catches, and then they were able to run out the clock. Wow. Like I said, typical Lions fashion, they had to wait to the fourth quarter to do it, which is always a little nerve-wracking as a Lions fan. But a win's a win. We're now 6-4, in complete control of the NFC North. With the Vikings winning, they were ahead when I started this, and I think the game ended. Yep, the Vikings did win 30-24, but since we hold the tiebreaker over them, we are still in complete control of the NFC North, going to now the Vikings come in to play on Thanksgiving. So the game as a whole, starters, the run game was non-existent the whole game. Our best run was a 1-yard run by Ebron to get a touchdown. That was pretty much the only positive thing that came out of the run game. Otherwise, I mean, Theo Riddick only hit 4 carries for 13 yards. They were force-feeding Dwayne Washington. He had 13 carries, only got 6 yards on it. His longest run was a 4-yard gain. So that's really disappointing. Stafford had 2 scrambles, but that just net even. And then they tried the whole end around they always do with Tate or the jet sweep, and that didn't end up working. Negative 6-yard loss. So the run game is still a worry, but we're led by Stafford, and he can do it when he needs to do it. The offense as a whole didn't really play. They didn't play bad, but they didn't play great. Stafford didn't throw a touchdown. Also didn't throw an interception. He didn't make a mistake. Tate had a fumble. Roberts then also had a muffed punt where they just slipped right through his arms, and it was on. And then Bolden had a close. You couldn't really tell with the camera angles, but it looked like he fumbled the ball. But it ended up standing when they did the challenge from Jacksonville. I'm sorry, Tennessee Titans fans, for just comparing you to Jacksonville. I'm sorry, Jacksonville fans, for putting you down right there. Oof, that's bad. But it looked like the ball was out, but they didn't have concrete evidence to be able to overturn it, which was closest for Lions fans. Stafford threw for 278 yards, 24 for 33, so he only had 9 incompletions. He's still throwing the ball fairly accurate, making good reads, making good plays. I don't recall seeing a ball that was poorly thrown to the point where it was almost intercepted, so he played really safe today. Ebron was the player of the game, in my eyes. He's the only one to score a offensive touchdown. He got the big 61-yard gain, I think, on a catch where Stafford had to get out of the pocket, and Ebron was wide open and ready to take the ball and go 61 yards. Got inside the 10-yard line, and then a couple plays later, he took the run, or the ball for the run, to get the touchdown on the 1-yard run that I talked about earlier. Wide receivers as a whole were pretty poor today. The biggest catch made by a wide receiver was Andre Roberts. And so when Andre Roberts is making the biggest catch, that means it's not a good day for the whole receiving core as a whole. Anquan Bolden keeps doing his job. He's like that other tight end that we have. Even though he's not a tight end, he's big, he's strong, he can catch the ball great, and he's that Stafford's go-to guy on third down still, which is always nice to see. Theo Riddick killed it. 8 catches, 70 yards. What he didn't do rushing, he did catching, and that's what he usually does. Roberts fumbled, muffed the punt. Tate fumbled. Williams had the fumble recovery, and Tavon Wilson. Interception? Did he have the interception? I can't remember. Oh, no. Okay, no. Wait, I was reading this. Anquan Williams picked the ball up. I remember that play. And then Wilson was trying to get the ball out of his hands so he could take off and run because Williams was going down, and the ball hit the ground, and Wilson recovered it for negative 2 yards from where Williams picked it up. I'm reading these stats off it just to have the stats. Now I remember that play. It just weirdly put up here. Prater was perfect from on field goals. He did miss the extra point that was blocked. I do like the extra point being back there further because Jacksonville also missed an extra point that was not blocked at all, but Sam Martin's continuing to prove why he's one of the best punters in the NFL and why he's worth every penny the Lions paid him. Punt returns, Andre Roberts. I was really upset with him. first punt he tried to take, that's the one he muffed, and then Jacksonville got the ball. They did only get 3 points out of it, so it wasn't too damaging. But then he did take the next one all the way to the house on a 51-yard return, which is fantastic. I will take that. If he's going to muff one and then return one, I'll take it. It's okay. Defensively, the team actually played pretty well. Rushing, they held the rush pretty decent. Chris Ivory got 39 yards. Denard Robinson got 21. Yeldon got 16, and that was on 24 carries. So they had what all together did they have? Because it didn't look like they were actually getting a lot of rushing going. The Lions were pretty much there. 83 yards rushing. I will take that. The defensive line stepped up. I want to throw a special shout out to Nevin Lawson and Miles Killebrew. They always seemed to be there when they needed to. Nevin Lawson making a lot of the tackles at the line of scrimmage, and Killebrew making a lot of third down tackles to force the fourth down, which is always fantastic to see. Quinn had a forced fumble, which was a great play on Chris Ivory. And then Tavon Wilson had the interception at the end of the game to seal it. And Raphael Bush returned an interception for a touchdown, which is nice because the offense wasn't doing a lot. And we needed Roberts to return the punt, and then we needed Bush to return the touchdown or the interception to get the touchdown. So it's a pretty good game defensively. They held the Jaguars to only 19 points, and they didn't give up at first touchdown until the second quarter. Jaguars were able to march a little bit, but they never were able to get too far into the red zone. It's always nice. On the Jaguars side, Blake Bortles, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I was really high on him starting off the season. I thought he was going to be one of the quarterbacks to take the next step. He hasn't. He regressed from what a lot of people were calling his breakout season last year. I thought he could do better than last year, but turns out he's not. He's kind of busting this season. Which I said the Jaguars were going to make the playoffs this year, and wow, that looks dumb now. Like I said, the rushing, they didn't do much rushing-wise. 83 yards is decent, but Bortles needs more help from that. Chris Ivory led their receiving core. I thought 75 yards on 6 catches. The Lions are still getting beat up in the middle. DeAndre Levy should be inching closer to a return. He did start practicing this last week, so maybe on Thanksgiving we'll see him against the Vikings, but the Lions need someone in the middle that can make those plays against the running backs and the tight ends. Speaking of tight ends, Lions did not get burned too bad by tight ends. Mercedes Lewis had one good catch right off the bat in the first drive of the game, which he got a decent amount of yards. But after that, between Lewis and Thomas, they had 4 catches. After that, they had 4 catches for like 12 yards. So I will take that because Thomas is one of the better tight ends in the league. Mercedes Lewis has always been used to be a great tight end in the league, and he's kind of stepped back a couple of years getting older and stuff. But I will take the Lions holding those 2 guys to overall 5 catches and 28 yards. Perfect. Marquise Lee I didn't realize how good of a season he was having until I looked at his stats, and he's stepping it up now. I think he's kind of what everyone wanted Ryan Broyles to be, the third option. But Broyles could never stay healthy, and Lee had trouble staying healthy the first couple seasons, and now he's healthy, and the Lions wish Broyles would have been healthy to be that third guy like Lee's being now. So it's nice to see a guy who started off a little injury prone, like Stafford's, now starting to come into his own and be successful. Other than that, I don't see a huge bunch of things to talk about. Their kicker missed an extra point, which was good for us. Kept the game 9-9 going into halftime instead of 10-9, which doesn't sound like much, but momentum's everything. A missed field goal, missed extra point can give the other team a little bit of momentum like it did for the Lions, which we needed at that point. We were struggling to get anything going in the first half. So, Marquise Lee did have a good kick return. That was a good play by him. I was watching that. But other than that, I don't understand why the Lions had to wait till the fourth quarter. It's the Jaguars. They haven't been playing that great this year. I heard his name so much during the podcast, and I can't remember how to pronounce his first name. Tevin Smith, the linebacker, number 50 for the Jaguars. His brother died last week Sunday. His girlfriend had their baby, and he still played this week, and he had a great game overall. I mean, he was solid. I have to throw that out there. He had 7 total tackles, 1 assist. The guy looked good. Yeah, I mean, he played good despite the circumstances. I got to throw that out there. Paz is still one of the best middle linebackers in the league. He was all over the place. And Jalen Ramsey, I know what he was trying to do on that. You saw him try to do it earlier in the game, but he was trying to recreate that whole Denver Broncos, New Orleans Saints from last week. Block the kick, take it back. Yeah, his timing was just off by a couple seconds. Otherwise, he could have blocked that kick, and then it would have been trouble. Jim Caldwell coached the game pretty well. I feel like Jim Bob Cooter tweaked some stuff in the second half, and you can see it worked because the offense started to produce. Terrell Austin played pretty well, but when you're playing the Jaguars, your defense should look better. So, sorry, Jags fans. But that's all for this week, and Lions got to win. They're moving on to Thanksgiving. 12:30 kickoff against the Vikings for Week 12. 4 days away. Not much time, but didn't really look like there was a lot of injuries and a lot of banged-up players, so they should be fine going into that. Looks like we might get Levy back for that, which would be great. So, if you like the video, leave a like, leave some comments. We'll talk about the game, all that good stuff. Subscribe to the channel, and I will talk to you guys in the preview for the Minnesota Vikings Lions Thanksgiving Day in Ford Field. See you guys later.